Hey guys, welcome to Appalachia Fusion. Your host Larry Lewis. We're excited. Just got back from an awesome trip to Wisconsin grouse hunting, and I brought one of those nice birds with me today, the whole bird. We're actually going to do a cornbread stuffing grouse with red potatoes and the golden mushroom soup gravy on top of it. So we're excited. Plus, we're going to actually do some pork cutlets too, wrapped in the same dressing. So if you don't like poultry, you want pork, it's give you a combination, and it'll give you some diversity with this recipe at home in case you don't have grouse. It'll show you another option that you can use instead of grouse. Kind of like try to do a couple different options to give y'all something. So we got our breadcrumbs, chicken stock, golden mushroom concentrate, my special spice blend pork cutlets, some Cajun sausage from Alabama, celery, sage from a herb garden, mushrooms, potatoes, onions, and butter. We're using our handy dandy fry or electric skillet today. I like using those, and we'll use it for everything. A couple other things. Oven's already preheated 350. Our iron skillets are in there so we can transfer stuff and keep on cooking as we go. That's one thing I do at home too all the time, is I always try to keep it going, keep my iron skillets in, make a game plan ahead that I can knock it out. So that's what we're doing today. So we're going to finish, this is the neck of the grouse. We'll just finish cutting it out like that, throw it away. Sometimes I leave the skin on. Sometimes I do it like this. We're going to actually just, we're going to cut the bird right here. Actually, let's separate that from this. And we're going to do a little more trimming on it because ain't no use to have that cooking on it. So. When we're at camp, we just clean them, put them in a bag, and go on, because they usually ain't a whole lot of stuff there to mess with. So before I cook them, I always end up finish trimming birds, etc., whatever needs to be done. So that's what we're doing here. The legs and that has plenty of meat on it, so they ain't no use to throw those away. What we will do is I want to butterfly this breast, maybe. Yep. A little bit. Cut that out of it. So it lays a little flatter in the pan like that. That's what we're looking for. Okay. So our seasoning, this hand's been clean. We're going to sprinkle some of my special seasoning on it, which is some blackened seasoning, Cajun salt, pepper, garlic, some stuff like that. And we'll use this for the pork cutlets too. Any kind of seasoning you want to use at home, whether it's Cajun seasoning, blackened seasoning from a store, I mean, you're still going to get pretty much the same flavor profile. It might vary a little bit. I want to turn my skillet back up. I got some butter and olive oil both in this. And what we actually want to do is just brown the grouse lightly. We're going to take it back out. And we'll go ahead and get our pork cutlets seasoned up too while they're here. Just go ahead and set them out like that. We're going to use all this, so it don't matter. I mean, I usually try to just get enough out to use it, and I throw the rest of it away. So just roll them around on each other like that, and that'll help get it all covered. Butter actually smells good. The olive oil in it, I'm sitting here smelling it, and it smells good. So, like I said, we just got back from Wisconsin. It was a great trip. We had a lot of fun. It was really hot. It was like 65, 70 degrees, so you could like hunt in your t-shirt, which don't make good for hunting, but you don't freeze to death. Got several points, brought some birds home, and this is actually one of them. So, overall it is a very rewarding trip. Next year we already planned a trip to go to Nebraska, so I'm looking forward to it. we try to plan at least a year in advance, because some places where you go, it takes, you can't get a hotel room. So if you're thinking about doing a hunting trip, don't wait till a week before to make plans. Try to look ahead of time. And we're going to put bone side down on both of them. While that's browning, you notice I had that on there. The one that the meat's going to be on, we're going to throw that in the sink. And we're actually going to start cutting up a few veggies and stuff like that to put in our dressing. So we want the onions. I like to pre-cook my onions and celery a little bit. Some people puts it in there raw, but I like making sure dressing, I like everything cooked good. We want to cook our bird, let it rest before we cut into it later. So we'll let that brown on both sides. We'll flip it in a minute while we're cutting some more of these up. We're going to cut up a whole onion. We may not use it all in the dressing, but might use it with potatoes or something else. Add it in with it to the end. Just set that to the back. Everything has been pre-rinsed. Probably 2 or 3 minutes on each side will be fine. Depending on how y'all like your celery, if you like it, big chunks of it, that's up to you. You can cut it up real fine in chunks, however you prefer. My wife doesn't hardly like celery at all, so a lot of times at home we may not use it. But today we are, because I like it. It's honestly just your preferred taste, how you like it. Now the pork cutlets we're not going to brown. We're just going to wrap them in the dress and put them in our pan and bake them till they're done. Then we'll add them back to this in the gravy later, which I'll show you all that. Usually by the time you get your celery and onions cut up, it's time to flip the bird over. Not flip the bird, but never anyhow. That's going to be a joke. Some of y'all might get it later. We also have upcoming deer season. By the time you see this show will be started, so let me move that towel out of the way. Fork, spatula, tongs, whatever you want to use. We just want to brown both sides. That'll seal the flavors in. And while that's browning, we're going to go ahead and grab our pan out for that. I was going to finish cooking it on a cast iron pan. We're just going to cook it till it's done. And then it'll be added back into the gravy mixture when it gets done. So everything's seared. We're just going to grab it like that. We're going to turn that back down. I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to put the bone side up. Put it right here. Pan's already preheated. It's hot. And we're just going to let this sit in there, roast and cook. That's it. That's all we're doing with it. So now, same dripping, same everything. Add your onions, add your celery. We're going to put a couple leaves of sage in there. We turn this back down because I don't want all the smoke and everything like that. So instead of using sage, rubbed sage or dried, we're going to use some fresh sage. We'll put that in there and let it release the flavor. Actually went out to the herb garden this morning and picked this fresh. We just want to cut it up. You can really smell it right now. Might do another one. bruising it and cutting it will let it release the flavors back into oil in a minute. So that's the biggest thing with it. So let's add that to our. Like I said, y'all see me cooking a lot. You'll see me using the same pan. They ain't no use to have a pan for everything you do. Sometimes there's circumstances, but so let's turn this back up a little bit. We want to saute our onions and celery till they get, just a good brown, translucent look. I know y'all can see that right now. They usually don't take long. They're already getting tender. And we won't put all this in dressing. We'll save some of this and put our potatoes and stuff in. It'll be just fine. We got more butter we can add to in a minute. Plenty of celery. Okay, to that, we're going to do something a little different. It's going to be more of a Cajun twist to it. This is where the fusion part comes in. Like taking all of these ingredients from south, north, adding together and make something awesome. So we got some real Cajun sausage. We're going to slice it up thin. We're going to add this to the mixture, and they're going to be some in our potatoes. They're going to be some in our dressing. So it'll be, a little bit of everywhere. We'll eat some. There's plenty of it here. I kind of try eyeball it. When I take a bite of dressing, if I'm going to have sausage in, I want to taste it. I want to have to take 5 bites before I taste the first part of it. That's with anything I cook. If I'm going to cook it, I want to taste it in every bite, not just, we'll cook it in a minute. That'll be our appetizers here this evening. Just coarsely chop this. It don't have to be perfect at all, by no means. Just smaller pieces. Run your knife through it, because we're going to add it to that mixture. And then all of it's going to go in the dressing in a minute. And this also gives it, more in-depth flavor. So, and it's all about the same slice thinness or thickness. So it'll all cook about the same, even though some pieces are half pieces to whole. Still going to cook through about the same because of the thickness of its cut. I'm excited. I like the new transition we made with the name of the show. And we've got several episodes coming up. We've been working hard in the kitchen, all of us, and getting some filmed. So this winter when it's bad, y'all got new shows to watch and got back up. So it's been great. So let's add just a little more butter in there. Now you can really smell it with the Cajun sausage going in. If y'all can smell this at home. You could take a spoon and eat this right now. And I like a dry dressing. I do not like a wet dressing. I like it thin, crispy, baked. I don't like it. I know some people like it out of a turkey moist. I'll eat it that way, but that's not how I prefer to eat it. But it wouldn't make no difference with this recipe. That's how y'all want it. The pork cutlets will be a little more like it because they're going to be encased in it. So, okay. So to that we're going to add just a couple mushrooms real quick. We don't want to use all of our mushrooms because some of them are going actually into the sauce extra. We want some big chunks of mushroom in it. So we're just going to add a little bit to build that flavor in our dressing. What we're trying to achieve here is get all the flavor profiles we're cooking with and everything today. So that's why we're adding a little bit of everything to it all, so it all kind of tastes, mixes together. That'll give our dressing a little bit of mushroom flavor, and we're adding them at the end because it don't take long for mushrooms to cook at all. I mean, all this stuff would cook in your dressing, but we're kind of letting that cook a little quicker. Actually, something I'm going to do real quick I didn't think of. Let's put just a tad of oil in our iron skillet. And then make the bottom of that dressing a little more crispier. Sort of like cornbread. So I want to turn this down on keep warm, because that's where I want it right now. Now let's switch to the dressing making. Like I said, you can make breadcrumbs. You can take cornbread, dry it out, use it. Or you can go and buy a bag of breadcrumbs at the store. Breadcrumbs are breadcrumbs. Add little herbs, add a little sage to it. It's dried out bread, so it is what it is. Start adding your mixture of this to it. Let's get us a scoop out. Be a little easier. Let's use a smooth spatula, it'll work better. So we're just going to add a bunch of this to it. Probably about, not a 50-50 ratio by no means, but probably put 30% of this onion sausage mixture to your breadcrumbs. We'll save the rest of this for potatoes later. Yeah, let's do some more. And you'll have plenty of flavor in here, so don't worry. Okay. The fun part. Start adding our stock. I'm going to do 4 scoops. Mix it around in my hand a little bit. See where we're at. By the way, the onions and celery and sausage is hot. And you can look also too, if you see that you think you want some more stuff in it, just add it as you go. It's kind of like, I mean, just do it how you would like as far as adding ingredients, because you might want a little more than someone else. When you start mixing together, you can really tell, hey, every bite's going to have mushrooms and every bite's going to have onions in it, and that's what you're looking for. The only thing I got to add to it in a minute is grab a couple of eggs. Don't want to forget our eggs. So, and it's about wet enough, so I know dressing's messy. So we want to mix all that together. This just helps bind it together. Is what it does. It keeps it from falling apart. Tell you what, I think I want to add. Let's just overload this one with goodness. Let's just put it all in there. This is a messy meal. Got one hand dirty and one hand in this stuff. So, anyhow, we'll finish mixing that together. So we're going to do 2 things right now. First thing, I'm going to wash my hands. And then I'm going to get the other iron skillet out. And we're going to put that in there. We'll take a second. Perfect timing. So just take this other towel, put it on there. If you think you have a little too much grease or oil, just put a little bit in there so it ain't so thick. Wipe the edge of it off. try not to get my hand dirty. So we'll take this. Like I said, I want to, you hear that sizzle. We got to save enough for a pork chop, so it won't take as much as you think. That's probably enough. So in this, we just want to just keep smashing it down like that. Skillets done it good, so we might have to do it that way. Needs a little more. You can tell the oil's working good in the skillet. It's not letting it stick, press down good. Let me move some of this stuff out of your all's way so you can see what we're doing here. So what we'll do here, I'll get my hands to stock a little bit where my fingers don't stick to the dressing. That's what the problem was. And we'll smash this on down. You won't kind of only just put it together in there. Like that. Okay. So that's actually going back in the oven probably about 20 minutes. And it should be done. That's what it looks like. That's your stuffing. Grouse is looking good. We'll actually take the grouse off a little bit because it'll be done and we'll let it rest. So our next project is actually, let's get the potatoes fried. We had no meat on this board, so let's cut us up some potatoes. Let's get our skillet back up. I'm telling you, this goes quick when you get started. I was telling the guys it'll actually go pretty quick. You use the same pot and just go with it. And this is a camp meal too. I mean, if you're at grouse camp or quail camp, you want to do it with quail. I mean, you don't want to make a big mess, like have all kinds of pots and pans. Here you go. You can make this with deer loin, stuff it. I mean, it's endless what you could do with this, really. It's not fancy. It's just rough cooking. It's from the land. I mean, it's Appalachia as you get with just a little bit of Cajun fusion in it. Potatoes, I'm trying to slice them where they'll fry pretty quick too. I mean, I ain't gonna say you can't mess up fried potato, but I don't look at what size potato it is when I'm eating it. I just eat it. I like potatoes. So we'll get this going. And all that goodness that's in our pan there, it's just going to make it, it's going to make the potatoes that much better. It's just going to pick up on that. We'll address that butter in a minute too. So we just want to keep, we'll just keep adding our potatoes as we cut them up. Everybody likes good fried potatoes, I think. Slice them like that. We're about done. One of my favorite things is to, sorry, wasn't talking, I was thinking about the trip to Wisconsin, is watching bird dogs work. And I know I've told you all this time and time again that, I mean, that's just my thing. Yes, I love deer hunt, turkey hunt, fish. I do it all. But to sit behind some good bird dogs and just watch them do their thing is just awesome. This most recent last 2 evenings, I've took my 2 older dogs, We've been woodcock hunting. The first evening, probably, I don't know, I'll quit counting past a dozen, and plus a big grouse, so that's plus. I didn't shoot a grouse, but I did shoot my limit of woodcock. So, I mean, that's just a plus here in eastern Kentucky. And I gracefully watched the grouse just fly away, and it was enough for me, you know, it made me happy. And then the next evening, I took the female dog out by herself in the same way, just tons of birds everywhere. So what I want to do here, just get a little more moisture in there for a minute. We'll just use chicken broth, it's fine. Get a little more olive oil, won't hurt a thing. It'll cook potatoes down. Let's put a top on it and let them kind of steam and cook, and then we'll crisp them up in a little bit. You don't have to sit there and turn potatoes all the time. You got a good non-stick skillet and enough oil in it, you'll be fine. We do need to get our cutlets going. These are pre-tenderized, so they should be real good and tender when we get done. Let's wipe this off right there. So we're just going to put a little bit in it and fold them over. That's it. That's all we're doing. That quick. I mean, it's fast and it's good. Trust me, y'all like this. There ain't no cheese, nothing you gotta worry about running out that you do when you wrap some stuff. So, I mean, they're gonna be good. They're already tenderized, so you'll be able to cut them easy. I like getting them that way, pre-tenderized. I tell you two different things, even like cube steak. People kindly overlooks it, but if you want to do a quick marinate and grill, throw these and marinate for 10-15 minutes where they're tenderized, go straight through them, throw them on the grill, they're tender, and they make awesome sandwiches and stuff. So, sorry, I do better with my hands. I'm hands-on good. Potatoes are frying quite nice right now. So 2 more left to do. We will clean the station up in a minute, I promise. This ain't no use to till we get this cooked, because you're handling the same stuff doing the same, so it's going to be dirt, right back dirty again. And might have a little more dressing than some of the others. We'll give that to Quentin. He needs to eat. He's falling away nothing. Wash your hands. Okay, so now all I'm going to do, I'm going to put this towel back down right here so y'all can see what I'm doing. That way I can set my skillet on it. See, potatoes is not sticking. All they're doing right now is steaming and cooking. And that's what you want to make good potatoes. Just let them sit there and do that. Then we can take the lid off, cook them down, and crisp them up towards the end. We need to do 2 things right now. First thing, we need to get our grouse out. And let it just sit there and rest. It's just roasted, and it just needs rest now. Okay. Next thing, we need to get our other iron skillet down here. It's been sitting there and oil on it, so these are going to fry when we put them in it. But that's fine. Hopefully we can get them all in it. Oh yeah. There you go. Now we'll put them back in the oven, just let them sit and bake till they get done. That's it. That's that meal. We'll actually turn our oven up a little bit. So it's put in on about 450. Start and bottom will turn off. So we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to clean up real quick and we'll be right back. We're going to finish up some sausage, mushroom action, and our potatoes. Let's take the lid off those. Let y'all kindly look at that. Like I said, they're going to sit there and cook. We'll get all the crispiness on them starting right now. I mean, they're pretty close to being done. So what we want to do, we got all this sausage. What are you going to do? So I want to throw it in potatoes. Can't never have too much sausage in anything. So I'm telling you, you could eat on this for probably a couple of days, 2 or 3 different meals. I mean, this potatoes and sausage alone's a meal. My good friend Chase Frederick brought me this sausage up when he's on vacation. And I laughed because he said, "Have you ever had that sausage?" I said, "Yes, when we live in Florida, but you can't get it up here. But all the grocery stores down there has it because it's common." So he brought me like 2 things of it up, and I was tickled to death. So we and this is great in gumbo, and it's great also in like if you're doing the low country bull. It's really good sausage for it. It does have a kick to it now. It ain't, but you can get it mild, Cajun, hot. I think this, or all of it's Cajun, but you can get hot, mild, or extra hot, and I think this is the hot. We actually used some of it in a dish the other day on one of our episodes. So let's put our sausage in there. So of course we want to save a few of the mushrooms for presentation and cooking. So let's make sure we got all the stems out of them. We'll go ahead and prep those while we're cooking some of this other stuff. Stir your sausage around in with your potatoes so it all gets cooking. We'll turn it back up. Actually, what we really going to do is throw the lid back on it. That way that sausage cooks, we're done with it. So de-stem all your mushrooms. Do have a couple of sage leaves left. We'll use that for garnish too. Although I wouldn't eat raw sage, that you just enjoy it. It's a little strong. Let's cut these in little slices. So I don't know about you all, but I really like mushrooms, any kind of mushrooms. I don't think I've ever eaten a mushroom that I don't like. I think the earthliness and the flavor, texture of them just brings out qualities in a lot of different meats and a lot of different flavors. My wife don't like the texture of mushrooms, but she likes the flavor of mushrooms. That makes sense. So when she does roast and stuff, she actually uses a cream of mushroom in with it, and makes really good roast. So slice these up thin. And I also like looking for wild mushrooms in Kentucky. You know, I'm not no expert forager. I wish I was. But there's so many varieties of mushrooms and stuff that you can go out and pick and eat in eastern Kentucky that's really good. Get you a book, take you maybe some classes to do that before you go out. Always, when I find one, I got a really good friend that's really good at that. So I'll go to him, send him a picture. Hey, what is this? And he, I trust him. He ain't gonna send me something I don't like or something that'll kill me. So not everyone I do that. 'Cause some people be like, yeah, it's all right to eat when it ain't. So don't take that lightly is what my point is. Just don't go out and start picking stuff out of the woods and eating it. Really either know or find someone that really knows what it is before you do it. And to that, there are a lot of really good mushrooms and really good stuff you can forage in East Kentucky that's healthy, good for you, that's natural, that's out there if you know what you're looking for. Taking my time on cutting the mushrooms. I want them all about the same size, and I don't want to cut my finger. I did already pre-wipe these mushrooms off. Just take your dry paper towel. Don't run them under water. I know we spoke about that before. Because that actually deteriorates them. Makes them slimy like. So we don't want to do that. We got plenty of mushrooms, so what I really want to do, take that off, give these potatoes, I mean, if y'all can smell that and look at that, it's just wonderful. We're going to add some of these mushrooms to it. Let's do that, that'd be plenty. Let them cook down. We're going to let these cook for a minute, and then we're going to transfer our potatoes to another pan, and we're going to come back to this pan, make our sauce, and finish everything up a little bit. So we're back. We're going to take our potatoes out. You can use any kind of pan you want to put back in the oven, because all we're going to do is keep these warm. They're done. Our sausage done. Our mushrooms is cooked down. So basically all we're doing is just keeping them warm to time to eat. They're browned up good. They're soft. If you want them a little more extra crispy, all you have to do is keep the pan turned on and crisp them. I like a mixture of potatoes. So I think this would go good with everything else. And then we're going to do our sauce in here, or gravy, whatever you want to call it. Make sure we get all the potatoes out of it, though. We don't really need a potato in with our mushroom. So we'll just go ahead and dump these mushrooms in here. Let them be softening up. We're going to throw this in the oven so they stay warm. The bottom oven was already preheated, so it's still good and warm. We'll just throw them right in there. Everything else is coming right along. So let's saute our mushroom just for a second. Get some flavor out. You tell it don't take no time for mushrooms to sweat down. So I'm going to take these back out. You might say why, because I want to use these on top as garnish, but I want them cooked a little bit, so that's why I was cooking them down. So let's just set them right there to the side. I'm telling you, we ain't had to clean this one time, and look how clean. I mean, since all the flavors married together, you're just going from one to the other, and I mean, it's just perfect. So, put this broth in. Let's add our mushroom. This is golden mushroom condensed soup is what it is. Campbell's, IGA. I mean, it's nothing fancy at all. I ain't gonna pretend it's something I come up with, made, took hours. IGA, Campbell's brand, in a can, pop the lid, use it. Get you a whisk and start whisking it together, get to the consistency that you want. So it'll take a minute or two. We can add more chicken stock if we want to or whatever. We probably will in a minute. I mean, some stuff you just don't have to take the time to do. Now, if you want to spend all day and get you some, probably the golden chanterelles we have, we can make something like this similar to it. And we might try that on one show. I think it'd be fun. What we're getting ready to do, I made some more hominy the other day. And we might do a show on it again here before long. I made white hominy this year. So as this heats up, it's going to thin down and marry with the broth in a minute. In my opinion, I'm going to add a little more broth to it. I want it just a little thinner. It ain't hardly as thin as I was wanting. It can always reduce down. Remember that. So if it's a little thin, all you gotta do is turn the heat up and let it cook for a minute. And I'll tell you what's gonna knock this all up a notch in a minute. Okay, let's turn it down just a hair. Okay. Put this to the side. Okay, now we got our grouse. We're going to cut it right down the center. And it's good and done. So you want to, you can go ahead, take this bone off of it right here. Pull it out. Like that. You got one nice piece of meat. We're going to turn this on down. It's about to keep warm. I'm going to let it turn down. Same way on this side. You can go ahead and debone it if you want to at this point. Take all the wing bone, all this up front out. You don't want to waste none of that at all. If you got any extra grouse meat, just throw it in there. So we got two nice little pieces. We'll just throw the legs and all in there. Take some of this meat. Go through it. Make sure you don't put no bones or nothing in it, but don't pick it clean. Grouse is hard to come by, so don't waste any of it. Just build a little more flavor in with the gravy. You can see those bits of grouse in there. And it smells wonderful. So I'm just double checking that, make sure I didn't leave maybe a little piece right there. We'll get that out. We're going to lay that right down in there like that. Now, if you had a bunch of quail, this is awesome. But we only got one grouse we're going to cook today because I don't have many in the freezer and I didn't want to bring a lot of them here. But I did want to do a grouse recipe. So you can feel this, technically, this whole thing would be full of either quail breast or grouse breast is what you'd be looking for. And we're just going to put the legs just like this, just straight in there. If you want to go ahead and cut them in half, you can. And do that. No biggie. Take a little bit of this gravy and just pour out on top of that. That way that moisture gets back in there. Okay. Put them to the side. So now we're going to start bringing everything out of the oven and kind of showing you how it's all going to go together. Didn't hardly have my rag right a minute ago, and pan got a little hot. We'll not do that this time. So here's my crispy stuffing because that's how I like it. If you don't like it that much, don't cook it that way, Here's our stuffed pork mince, or stuffed tenderized pork loins. And we want to check them. I don't have a thermometer here today, so we'll just get one of the thicker ones out. We'll cut through it. Just make sure it's perfectly cooked all the way through. Just put the dressing back in that one. We're going to lay this in our sauce for a few minutes. Every bit of this stuff. They are hot. So keep our grouse in one corner. And this is substitute. If you don't have all quail grouse, and some people don't want it, that's why I was showing you the diversity of this. You can do half pork, half chicken, whatever. That way someone has something they want. And so it's a well-rounded dish that you can use for anything. You can see those little pieces of grouse floating around in our sauce that come off the bones that we just added to it. Looks good. Let's put this extra stuffing to the side. So our stuffing, let's go back over it. Breading, sausage, onion, celery, mushrooms, Cajun sausage, a little seasoning in it. That's our stuffing. That's what our pork chops was stuffed with. And then we have the stuffing that would go with the grouse or quail. And I'll show you how we'll plate that up in a minute. Thus extra sauteed mushrooms, a little sage out of the herb garden for garnish. Actually, I think we'll use some garnish right there with a few mushrooms. Wonder if we could get this on the cover of a telephone book. Just joking. There are way better pictures than that out there. Let's use our ladle here. So let's take some of this mushroom gravy. Just start putting it on top of our pork loin. I don't want to move the pork loin around a whole lot because I don't want the stuffing to come out of it. I do want it soaked in it just a little bit, let that flavor go down in it. Okay, let me grab our potatoes and let's make a plate. This is Appalachia fusion to the T. Going with fried potatoes. Let's get this where you can see everything. So if I was going to plate this, of course the main dish is the grouse. So first I would cut me some stuffing. And that should come right out, and it will. I mean, this iron skillet. So we're going to cut us a piece of this stuffing. It actually ain't stuffing, it's dressing. Stuffing would be in pork chops. So let's move that back off there for a minute. We'll just go ahead and cut this all the way up. So when we're all eating in a minute, it's good to go. So let's do one decent piece of that. Let's get the center cut one right here. Let's do this one. Okay. Just don't want to cooperate with me. Let's put it right here in the center like so. We're going to get our grouse out of here, one of the breasts. We're going to put it right on top, like so. Serve it with one of the legs. Take us some potatoes and sausage and mushrooms. Put around it a little bit. This little sage leaf, a few mushrooms right on top. And everybody wants a little extra dressing. I know or a little extra sausage sauce. So we'll put it right on there. There you go. Voila. So if we was doing that, that would be your plate. And that's a rough grouse and a dressing with Cajun sausage and peppers and onions. Thanks for joining in again. The recipes will be uploaded we're gonna get off here and eat some good grub. Thanks, guys. See you next time.